I still remember the message I got that morning. It was short. Only a few words from my son Daniel. Mom, we finally bought a house. That single message filled my heart with more warmth than I can describe. I'd been waiting to hear something like that for years. My boy, my only child, had worked so hard, struggled so much, and now he finally had a place to call his own. I replied immediately, "I'm so proud of you, sweetheart. I can't wait to see it." He didn't reply for a few hours. I told myself he must be busy moving in, but when he finally did, his words felt colder than I expected. "Thanks, Mom. We're still settling. Maybe after a while." After a while. Those words lingered with me for days. I told my friends at the community center how proud I was of him. I showed them the little picture he had sent of the front porch. It looked beautiful. White fence, tall windows, neat lawn. It looked like everything I'd ever dreamed my son would have. A few weeks passed. Then one evening, I sat at my kitchen table, looking at an old photo of Daniel when he was 10. He was holding a small wooden plane we made together. That smile, it was the kind that could light up the room. But now, it had been so long since I'd seen that smile in person. The next morning, I made a decision. I was going to surprise him. I told myself it would be a lovely thing. A mother visiting her son, helping him set up the new house. I even baked his favorite cookies and packed them carefully in a tin. I booked a flight for the next day. It had been almost a year since we'd last seen each other. He'd gotten married, moved away, and our calls had grown shorter. He always said he was busy. Work stuff, projects, commitments. I told myself that's just how life goes. Children grow up. But still, a mother's heart always longs to be part of her child's world. When I landed, I felt like a child myself. Excited, nervous, emotional. I had his address saved, and when I reached the house, my heart skipped a beat. It was even more beautiful in person. The yard was green and tidy. The porch had flower pots on both sides. I could hear faint laughter from inside. I walked up to the door, holding my suitcase and the cookie tin. My hands trembled as I pressed the doorbell. A few seconds later, the door opened, and there he was, my Daniel. He looked surprised. Not happy surprised, but startled. "Mom?" he said, almost in a whisper. I smiled, trying to hold back tears. "Surprise, sweetheart. I came to see your new home." His eyes widened, and he quickly glanced over his shoulder before stepping out and closing the door behind him. "Mom, what are you doing here?" he asked quietly. "I came to see you, to see the house. You didn't invite me, so I thought I'd surprise you." He sighed and rubbed his forehead. "Mom, you shouldn't have done that." My smile faded a little. But why? I wanted to see where my son lives now. He looked back toward the door again and lowered his voice. "Mom, please don't tell the neighbors you're my mother." For a few seconds, I didn't understand what he meant. I blinked, searching his face. "What? What did you say?" He looked uncomfortable, almost embarrassed. "Just, please don't mention it to anyone. The neighbors, people around here. They don't know much about my family. It's just easier that way." I felt something inside me go still. My fingers tightened around the cookie tin. "Easier?" I asked softly. "Easier to hide your own mother?" "Mom, please, not here." He whispered sharply. "Can we not do this right now?" The door opened slightly, and his wife, Amanda, peeked out. She looked surprised to see me standing there. "Oh," she said. with a polite smile that didn't reach her eyes. "You came." I nodded slowly. "Yes. I wanted to see the new house." She hesitated. "Well, it's not really a good time. We weren't expecting visitors." Daniel looked at her, then at me. "Mom, maybe you can stay somewhere nearby. I'll come visit after dinner, I promise." That promise felt hollow even as he said it. I wanted to ask why. Why couldn't I just step inside? Why couldn't I see the home my son built? But my voice wouldn't come out. He must have seen the sadness in my eyes because he added quickly, "It's just that we haven't unpacked everything yet. The house is a mess." I nodded slowly, pretending to understand. "Of course," I said. "I didn't mean to bother you." I turned and started walking back toward the sidewalk. The wind felt colder than before. I didn't look back. A few minutes later, as I stood by the road waiting for a cab, I saw him step out again, looking around as if making sure no one saw me there. He didn't wave. I checked into a small motel nearby. It wasn't fancy, but it was quiet. I placed the tin of cookies on the little nightstand beside the bed. The label I'd written said, "For Daniel, with love." That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept staring at the ceiling, hearing his voice in my head. "Please don't tell the neighbors you're my mother." How does a mother even begin to understand that? In the morning, I bought some flowers from a nearby shop and walked back toward his street. I wanted to try again, to see if maybe things would be different. From a distance, I saw his car parked outside. He was talking to a man who looked like one of his neighbors. I slowed down. I couldn't hear their words, but I saw Daniel gesture toward the house and smile. The man laughed, clapping him on the shoulder. Then the neighbor glanced toward me. I froze. Daniel followed his gaze and saw me standing there. His smile disappeared. He quickly excused himself and came toward me. "Mom," he said in a low voice, "what are you doing here again?" I held out the flowers. "I just wanted to see you. Maybe bring you these." He sighed heavily. "Mom, please, you're making this awkward." "Awkward?" I repeated, my voice shaking. "I came all the way here, Daniel. I flew across the country. I just wanted to see your home. Meet your neighbors. I thought you'd be happy." He looked around again before replying. "You don't understand how people here are. They talk. I've told them things and..." He stopped himself. "Told them what?" I asked quietly. He didn't answer. I took a deep breath. "Daniel, are you ashamed of me?" He looked down at his shoes. "It's not like that," he said. "It's just, I've told them my parents don't live nearby, that we're not close. I didn't mean it in a bad way. I just didn't want questions. Everyone here is so polished. They wouldn't get it. Polished. That word hurt more than any insult." "I see," I said softly. "You didn't want them to know you came from a small town. From a mother who still lives in the same old house where you grew up." He said nothing. I gave him the flowers anyway. "For your home," I whispered. He hesitated, then took them awkwardly. "Thanks, Mom." I smiled through tears. "You have a beautiful life, Daniel. I hope you never forget who helped you build the first pieces of it." He didn't meet my eyes. That evening, I sat in the motel lobby, watching families check in. Kids running around, couples laughing. I thought of the days when Daniel used to cling to my arm, begging me not to leave him on his first day of school. I thought of his late-night calls from college when he didn't have enough money for rent, and I'd send what little I could. I thought of the birthdays I celebrated alone because he was too busy. And I thought of how every time I told myself, he'll come around, he just needs time. But standing outside his perfect little house, I realized something I'd been avoiding for years. Time doesn't always bring people closer. Sometimes it builds walls you can't climb anymore. The next morning I decided to leave. Before heading to the airport, I walked past his house one last time. It was early, and no one was outside. I placed the cookie tin on the porch, along with a note that said, "Your mother loves you. Always." I didn't ring the bell. I didn't wait. As I walked away, I heard the faint sound of a door opening behind me. But I didn't turn around. Some goodbyes don't need words. On the flight home, I stared out the window, watching the clouds drift below. My heart ached, but there was also a strange calm. I had done everything I could as a mother. I had loved him with everything I had. And maybe one day, when he looks around that beautiful home of his, he'll realize the walls mean nothing if the heart inside them is empty. Maybe he'll remember the woman who flew across the country just to see him smile. When I reached home, I unpacked slowly. The house felt smaller than before, but somehow more peaceful. I made myself a cup of tea and sat by the window. The next day, I got a message on my phone. It was from Daniel. "Mom, I found your note. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. You can visit whenever you want." I smiled faintly. I didn't reply right away. I knew the apology came from guilt, not love. Not yet, anyway. But it was a start. I whispered to myself. Maybe one day. Then, I opened my photo album and looked at his childhood pictures. The small boy who used to hold my hand in crowded streets. The boy who cried when I left him at school. The boy who once told me I was his hero. And I chose to remember that boy, not the man who forgot, because a mother's love doesn't fade. Even when she's hidden, even when she's uninvited, even when she's asked to stay silent, love remains. It waits quietly, like sunlight behind a cloud. If you've ever loved someone who forgot your worth, I hope this story reminds you. Your love still matters. Your heart still matters. And even if they don't see it now, one day, they will. Because no one can ever erase the truth of a mother's love. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. There are many hearts like mine out there. Quiet, hurting, but still full of love. And maybe, together, we can remind the world what love really means.